Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Edmonton. My name is Gordon Ritchie. My pronouns are he, him, and Karen Mills and I are not only your service leaders this morning, but we also will be conducting our church choir, Chorealis. It is wonderful to have you with us here in the sanctuary and online. I've not heard of any announcements. Do we have an announcement? Yes, I thought there would be an announcement from Donna. One announcement.
Good morning. I don't have a report to, a full report to give you of the garage sale. However, that'll come once we pull everything together and add up everything that's on the credit cards and whatnot. But I will announce that we've made more than we anticipated. We made over $9,000. Thanks to all of you who have donated and bought, and you know you can still buy. You can buy, or you can take away for free, or you can donate. Your choice. So, after the annual meeting only. Okay. Annual meeting first. I want to properly thank all of those who donated and worked hours and hours and hours, but I will pull all that together and do that maybe next week or the week after. But up to now, thank you so much. You've been wonderful. You've made it happen.
And Donna's been wonderful too. Special thank you to everybody, to Donna. It's a lot of hands that make this work, so very grateful to everyone for their assistance. Yes, the annual general meeting is after the service. We'll take maybe, about 15-minute break after the service. For those of you online, please stay online as well for the meeting. And, I need to mention that, yes, our minister, Reverend Rosemary Morrison, is with us, technically off duty, but even though she's off duty, she gets put in duty, joining us in the choir this morning. So it's lovely to have you still with us and singing. And we have one more last-minute announcement.
I have to ask one more favor of particularly the strong men and women in the congregation, and that is to help move all those heavy signs back up on the mezzanine or whatever we call it to store for next year. They're in the Keeler Hall, so we'll do that also after the annual meeting.
And I have a special request at this time too. I know we are very aware of emergency alerts that are happening, which we do need to be aware of, and our thoughts are with all of those who are dealing with the weather issues that are happening right now. Please do make sure that any electronic devices that you have with you this morning are either turned off or at least silenced. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. We begin our service with a prelude entitled Call to Worship, written by Betty Wylder.
Good morning. I'm Karen Mills. I am the service co-leader and the choir co-director. It's a good coing community. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm very happy to be here with you this morning. The Unitarian Church of Edmonton is a liberal, religious, multi-generational, free-thinking community. We welcome diversity, pursue the common good, work for justice, and we believe in the compassion of the individual heart, the warmth of community, and the search for meaning in our lives. We gather with gratitude this morning on Treaty 6 territory. A treaty we understand is an inheritance, a responsibility, and a relationship. It is a real, ongoing, and living thing. May we be good neighbors to one another, good stewards to our planet, which seems all the more important this week with all the emergency alerts, and good ancestors to all our children. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. I kind of love how our garage sale is a visible show of that, of sharing with our community, wanting to support this church, and hoping that others can enjoy and be enriched by what we have had in our lives. And so I will begin with our opening words this morning. They're participatory, so there's a part for you to share in as well. And that should be coming up on the screen here in a moment. Our service this morning is around all aspects of creativity and creating mindfully. And so our opening words are called Why They Sing. Singing is an act of creation, of bringing into the world something that wasn't there before. Singing is a natural expression of my spirit. At the same time, it can be soothing, energizing, crying, laughing, angelic, or down in the dirt blues, but it's all good. Singing is energy going out into the world to create even more sympathetic energy, and it can change the world. I'll bet it was someone listening to music who came up with the idea of heaven. With gratitude, we celebrate the gifts shared. With wonder and delight we receive, and may the melodic offerings touch our heart and nurture our spirits. Singing simply puts a song in my heart that I can share. I sing to create an uplifting atmosphere for myself and others. I sing for the pure joy of it. I sing for that spine-tingling sensation when you know you and your fellow singers have touched those who listen. Singing brings me joy and energy and makes me dance. And I sing because it opens doors inside and out. And I sing because it helps me understand the power inside me and how to use it fearlessly and gently. And oh yes, because it feels mighty fine too. With gratitude, we celebrate the gifts shared. With wonder and delight we receive. And may the melodic offerings continue to touch our hearts and nurture our spirits. We'll now have an interlude from the choir, we thought kind of appropriately titled Why We Sing.
I would like to invite Sue and Muriel up. The words for our chalice lighting are entitled Chalice Lighting for Music Sunday. We are celebrating the arts and creativity this month. The chalice lighting words are by Marnie Singer, and we've asked Muriel to light our chalice this morning.
Thanks, Gordon. My name is Susan Lynch. I'm reading Kindling the Chalice, Chalice Lighting for Our Sunday, and it's written by Marnie Singer. The chalice is the container, the space where musicians and listeners gather. The oil is the fuel, the hours of practice, the life experiences of everyone in the room. The wick is the instruments and vocal cords through which the music will flow. The flame, is the music which is created, as if by magic, when the instruments are lifted, the breath is inhaled, and the downbeat is nodded. May this flame ignite the music within us all. Thanks, Muriel.
Now it's your turn to sing. I invite you all to join us in hymn number 326, Let All the Beauty We Have Known. If you have a hardcover hymnal, it's in there, but the words are on the screen as well.
So we have some really interesting readings this morning. I've chosen pieces that reflect different modalities and their influence on our lives within a creative sense. So I'd like to invite Mitch up for our very first reading.
Life Tips from the Pottery Wheel by Tim Atkins. Over the past couple of years, what started off as a hobby has turned into a true spiritual practice, wheel-thrown pottery. I would love to tell you that I've picked it up immediately, that I've become an expert with showcases and gallery openings and, okay, I can't hardly stop laughing from that picture. In fact, I've had some pretty epic failures with my pottery. Almost everything comes off a little off-center, and often my attempts at the wheel end up with a disaster of some sort. Just last month, when I was trimming a bowl, it flew off my wheel, smashed into another wheel, and the formerly not too bad bowl turned into something that resembled more a pancake. I laughed it off. When I was learning to make bowls, clay ended up coating my arms, my cheeks, my hair, everywhere really. None of the bowls came out like bowls, and I left with a huge smile on my face, despite of failure after failure. Because what have I learned? Well, far and away, far and away, the most important lesson pottery has taught me is to not be attached to the final product. There are a lot of places in the process of making wheel-thrown pottery where something different than you expected can happen. You never know how the final product will look after the glazing until it comes out of the kiln. Every time I put a piece into the kiln with a certain expectation of how it'll come out, I've been disappointed. When I don't much care how it looks in the end, I end up pleasantly surprised. I just can't be attached to those final outcomes. The process matters more than the product. The process matters more than the product. This is a universal truth in art and creativity, and it transcends every artistic medium, from architecture to YouTube videos. No matter what form the art takes in the end, no matter what artistic medium you use, the process of making the art changes who you are as a person. How we're changed differs from person to person, but we are fundamentally changed by embracing our creativity, no matter our creative outlet. A prayer. May we all take the time to fully immerse in our creative potential, no matter the medium. May we all be reminded that the process matters, not just the final outcome.
I would like to invite Carol forward for our next reading.
This is a reading from Broken Parts Whole by Karen Johnson. I made a beautiful piece of art in a mosaic class this summer, but there were times when I was frustrated by my own limits. The teacher used the tools with ease, When I used it, it was clumsy. Still, the teacher showed me how to use the tool. She never offered to do it for me, which meant that by practicing, I figured it out myself. I also learned that there were 2 ways for us to turn large sheets of glass into smaller usable pieces: the intentional precision of a pistol-handed glass cutter or using a ball-peen hammer with a thwack by force. Each method renders very different results, both of which are necessary. The beauty of our mosaics emerges from a mixture of precision and chaos, control and surrender. I had arrived to class with a design in mind, but the further along I got, transferring the design from paper to wood, the less the mosaic looked like my original drawing, which was all for the better. Vision is essential, but I had to hold mine loosely so that the final project could reveal itself to me along the way. From this class, I gleaned plenty of wisdom for life beyond the artist studio. As much as you can, surround yourself with skillful teachers, no matter what you are learning. Let them teach you, but don't let them do it for you. The learning is yours to do. Respect the fragments and shards, whether they're multi-hued glass of your life's own story. Yes, they offer the occasional sharp cut, but they can also offer beauty and new ways to perceive the world. Resist the urge to fully map out the future. Instead, cultivate humility, a sign of strength, not weakness. Find within you the capacity to trust, no matter how small. Grow that. A prayer. May you get through this life not unscathed, but with all your broken parts available for you to piece together into a beautiful whole.
Thank you, Carol. Well, reality tells us that yes, we do have broken parts. And yet, in a community like this, in a beloved community like this, they come together. Whether we come together here in the sanctuary, whether we come together online, we form our own magic, our own beauty, collective wisdom. We have joys, we have concerns that are fragments of those beautiful pieces of glass. And so we acknowledge that. We take time to acknowledge the joys, the sorrows, the challenges that are part of our lives, not only our own personal lives, but the lives of those around us. And so we light candles. We have our candle station over to my right. For those of you who are online, I invite you to type in a little chat of something that may be on your mind, a prayer, a wish, a concern, a celebration. For those of us here in the sanctuary, I invite you to line up along the side, and if you wish to do so, come forward and light a candle at this time. I'll ask Reverend Rosemary to light another candle. For all of you who are with us online, all your joys and concerns, know that you are with us today. And we also light a candle for those in our world who are suffering from the ravages of war. May we have peace. May we send peace out into the world for those who've been displaced, not only through war, but also through the fires that we're experiencing here at the moment. Also for all creatures who are dealing with the traumas in the world, the four-leggeds, the two-leggeds, those that fly, those that crawl, who also have been losing their homes. For this blessed community, for the love that we share, for the concern that we have for each other, for the meeting that we are going to be having at the end of this service. May we join together with loving hearts and compassion as we move forward to wonderful things. May we keep all these prayers and joys in our hearts as we worship together. Blessed be. So we've heard about experiences from working with clay, creativity when it comes to working with glass. What are some other forms of creativity? The dance. I invite Andrea up now.
Hello, my name is Andrea Graham, and the reading I'm doing today is called Know When to Tango by Carie, Romano, Griffin, and it starts with a quote. Tango is a social dance, a dance of the people. What would be the point of having lessons with teachers if we all taught the same? That is the charm of the tango. With each person, you find a different character and style. By Miguel Soto. When I find myself struggling with a person or a group, I sometimes consider isolating myself from them altogether. That's when I retreat to a space where I hear tango music. In an instant, I'm 8 years old again. I can smell the hot cafe Bustelo percolating on the tiny pot on my grandmother's stove while she plays cards with her grandfather and a childhood best friend from Argentina. Music starts to play while my aunts and uncles move furniture so that they can dance. In mere moments, the living room becomes transformed into a space of expression, celebration, and connection. My mother and my uncle are clearly the most skilled dancers. They settle into an easy rhythm together, floating across the old terrazzo flooring, the card players occasionally pausing to watch them. Order turns into chaos as everyone takes turns practicing their steps on their own, and then we engage with other family members. We each bring our own skills and our abilities, strengths, and weaknesses to the tango. But always we seek to balance feeling our way through the relationship of the dance with the new partner, and with respect and love for the person and the music's rhythm. The tango of my youth was not as inclusive as my sweet memory would lead me to believe, but I can smile at that memory and know that the spirit of the tango extends beyond my 8-year-old understanding to a more inclusive dance, one that makes space for a theology of a better world on a dance floor of mutual respect with people of all genders, sexual orientations, abilities, races, and ethnicities. Thank you. When I meditate on this inclusive tango of the people, I ask myself, this person or group that I am struggling with, am I wrestling with a different character or style? Or is something else happening here? Do we have an agreement of respect? Or is one of us trying to dominate what they don't understand? Is one of us more skilled and therefore needs to meet the other partner where they are and help them move to new places? Or does one of us need to engage with the other's learning partners before we can attempt to be in a relationship? A prayer. May I always remember that tango, like life, is a dance of the people. It's meant to be shared, not practiced in isolation. May the rhythm of the tango expand the spirit and remind me to seek to be in relationship with my fellow dancers in life, while also being mindful that it's okay to say no to those who in the moment do not wish to work through the challenges of the dance with love and respect. May it be so. Amen.
Thank you, Andrea. Well, guess what our next hymn is? Let It Be a Dance. Go figure. How did that happen? It's hymn number 311, Let There Be a Dance. The text will be coming up on your screen for those online and on our screen here in the sanctuary. I invite you to rise in body and spirit as we enjoy singing together hymn number 311, Let It Be a Dance. Well, I hope all of you that are with us online were swaying as much as we were in the sanctuary. We had some swaying going on. One of the purposes of our church community is to encourage all who gather here to grow more in generosity of spirit and action. In addition to supporting this community, we also make a monthly commitment to the wider community. One half of the unidentified cash that received is given to an outside organization. For the month of May, we will be supporting YES, Youth Empowerment and Support Services. And I'll ask the ushers to begin collecting the offering, which we'll do as soon as we find out where the offering plates are. Oh, there's one. Oh, well, we'll figure it out. They've been apparently, I've just had a report that they have been sold by at the garage sale. This one's going for $5. Do I hear 10, 10, 15? Do I hear 15 for our offering plates? Yeah, thank you. Those of you online, please put in your bids, and we will take the highest bidder, and we'll take care of that. Thank you, everybody. We're just going with the flow here. I love it. So here, let me tell you about YES. Based in Edmonton, Youth Empowerment and Support Services provides immediate and temporary support housing and low-barrier 24/7 shelter for young people ages 15 to 21, and a drop-in resource center and individual wraparound support for youth 15 to 24. I'd like to quote from their website. We work collaboratively within a network of care focused on the prevention of youth homelessness and providing youth with necessary support to sustain their housing, improve their well-being, build life skills, connect with community, and avoid re-entry into homelessness. We focus on healing trauma through a relationship. We focus on working beside youth to minimize barriers to resources. Barriers are policies and expectations that put resources out of reach for those in need. The restrictions often prevent people from seeking help. We focus on collaboration for everyone. For those of you online, I encourage you to visit the Youth Empowerment Support Services website to make a donation. We thank you for your generosity of spirit and action. Through all we do here in this community and the wider world, we are involved in the important spiritual work of creation and compassion. As I receive the offering in whatever containers we've been able to achieve or find, let us join in singing From You I Receive. So as I was thinking about the service this morning, I thought, creativity. There's a lot of amazing writing that goes on, not only within our community, some fantastic writers, but literature and the inspiration that we receive. And of course, who should I ask to talk about literature in our community but John Pater?
Yes, thank you, Gordon. I think over the years I've done lots of readings from literature. It's one of my favorite places to go for inspiration and meaning. And I have two selections from two novels that sit on my bookshelf. My bookshelf is special in some ways. It was custom made, number one, and then two, the books that are on it have to deserve to be there. And one of the criteria is that I will want to read them again and again. So two of the novels that I have with me this morning. One of them is called The 13th Tale. It's by British writer Diane Setterfield. And the excerpt I'm picking from in this book is where we meet the main character. She grew up in a bookshop. What a wonderful place to grow up. And she talks about how it is a place to write, but it is also a place, obviously, to read. And she goes like this. A is for Austen, B is for Bronte, C is for Charles, and D is for Dickens. I learned my alphabet in this shop. My father walking along the shelves, me in his arms, explaining alphabetization in the same time as he taught me to spell. I learned to write there too, copying out names and titles onto index cards that are still there in our filing box 30 years later. The shop was both my home and my job. It was a better school for me than school ever was. And afterwards, it was my own private university. It was my life. My father never put a book into my hands and never forbade a book. Instead, he let me roam and graze, making my own more and less appropriate selections. I read gory tales of historic heroism that 19th century parents thought were suitable for children, and Gothic ghost stories that were surely not. I read accounts of arduous travel through treacherous lands undertaken by spinsters in crinolines, and I read handbooks on decorum and etiquette intended for young ladies of good family. I read books with pictures and books without, books in English, books in French, books in languages I didn't understand, where I could make up stories in my head on the basis of a handful of guessed-out words. Books, books, and books. In between reading, I helped my father in his work. When I was 12, Father set me looking for lost books. We designated items lost when they were in stock according to the records, but missing from their rightful position on the shelves. They might have been stolen, but more likely they had been left in the wrong place by an absent-minded browser. There were 7 rooms in the shop, lined door to ceiling with books, thousands of volumes. And while you're at it, check the alphabetization, Father said. It was a job that would take forever. I wondered now whether he was entirely serious in entrusting it to me. To tell the truth, it hardly mattered, for in undertaking it, I was serious. It took me a whole summer of mornings, but in the beginning of September, when school started, every lost book had been found, every misplaced volume returned to its home. Not only that, but, and in retrospect, this is the thing that seems important, my fingers had made contact, albeit briefly, with every book in the shop. My second reading is from an Edmonton writer, Thomas Wharton, in his book Salamander. In this book, we also meet a young woman in a bookshop. She's the owner of this bookshop, but it has been torn apart. She's in the middle of a war, and her shop has been more or less destroyed. And she's in there picking through the ruins. And a soldier comes along who's checking for looters, and they begin a conversation about books and reading. And this is where we pick up the story. There's one book, she says, the bombs didn't touch. One I haven't read yet, a book I'd like to read. I'm intrigued, says the soldier, feeling the chill night on the back of his neck. He shivers, leans closer to the warm glow of the candles. Why don't you tell me about it then, this ideal book? I'm curious to know what sort of book you would like to read. Well, she says, I think every reader imagines this book a different way. Mine is slightly larger than a pocketbook size, narrower. Her pale hands trace a shape in the gloom. The cover is sealskin, dyed dark green, and the pages, she brings her hands together until her palms and the tips of her fingers touch, her eyes open. The pages are very thin, almost sheer, weightless. When I close the book, it's like a beetle's wings folding back under its wing case. You do know some science. Pardon me, says the soldier. Go on. Tell me what happens when you open the book. I can't read the words at first, she says. The text is like a slender black door. This could be any book. A treatise, he says, or a history. Or a novel, she says. I can open it anywhere, even to the last page, and find myself at the beginning of a story. And where will you start this time? The young woman gazes slowly around the ruin of the shop. This time the book opens, but opens out into a marvelous castle with paper walls and ceilings and floors that fold and collapse and slide into each other. There are cardboard wheels that revolve and change what you see, and panels that slide open to reveal hidden passageways to other pages. You can get lost there. And does this wondrous castle have a name? It does, but you see already it's happening. What is it? In order to tell you about the book, I have to tell you about the castle. But to tell you about the castle, I have to begin somewhere else. And where would that be? With a siege, she says, like this one we're in now, and a battle. And then later on in this book, there's a further definition of this ideal book. It's a book that says to all boundaries, to all truths, there is something more. Thus ends the reading.
invite you to share in our next hymn that will sort of tie in with our reading theme, and it's hymn number 22, Dear Weaver of Our Lives' Design. So not only did that hymn talk about weaving threads, which are often used, in the terms of the literary, of the threads of a story, but it, I think, nicely gives a nod to all of the fabric and the textile arts. And for the last month, we had enjoyed a beautiful quilt by Yvonne Moreau as part of our art display. And if you haven't had a chance to see it, if you go down the hallway just past the washrooms, there's a quilt that was created by many hands in this congregation that has some of the founding members embroidered into the squares. So I would invite you to have a look at that if you haven't already. But right now I'm going to invite you into a time of meditation. And so I invite you to settle back in your chair or on your bed, or lay on your floor, whatever is comfortable for you. There is going to be an image to look at, so you may not want to close your eyes right away, but you can when it feels appropriate for you. And this is a meditation on the Musica Universalis by Joel Tishkin. The ancient Greek philosopher Pythagoras taught that the universe was composed entirely of numbers, and numbers corresponded to music. So the entire universe, all of reality, including us, was composed of numbers and music. The 7 planets of the ancient world each resonated a frequency toward the universe. Now this image that's on the screen is a 19th century depiction of that Musica Universalis, or harmony of the spheres. Each planet a different note on the musical scale. Their music was not something that we heard audibly, but their cosmic vibration, their resonance, could impact us as all music could. Pythagoreans believed that music purified and nourished our souls, keeping us spiritually healthy in the same way that exercise and nutrition does for our body. So now might be a good time to settle into your chairs. Close your eyes. I'm going to ask you some questions to think about. I invite you to contemplate, what music do you need to purify your soul right now? What music do you need to nourish your soul right now? Do you need a peppy tune to make you smile and dance? Perhaps you need a love ballad to help you celebrate all the love in your life. Or do you need a sad song that speaks to loss and grief? Maybe you need a dirge to help you mourn a tragedy or a loss. Or do you need a happy song to remind you of a celebratory aspect of your life? Do you need a cacophony of noise to rattle you into a new awareness? Or perhaps you need a lullaby to bring you peace and serenity. As we enter into moments of silence, I invite you to consider the song that is speaking to you at this moment. Imagine it is resonating within you, but also outward in all directions, bringing your resonance to those next to you, then the people next to them, outward until it fills this room, connects in the walls beyond, connecting you with everyone else, communicating where you are today. May our collective silence bring harmony to ourselves and to everyone in our orbit. Well, we had one hymn that celebrated dance, and I think this is another. I find it hard to kind of stand in one place while singing De Caloris, which is number 305 on the screen. So if you feel the need to sway, please go with it.
I would like to invite Sue and Muriel forward together this time to extinguish our chalice this morning.
May we hear the melody of life by Joseph Cleland. May we hear the melody of life and find ourselves singing harmony. May we be open to the dissonances of the song of the land and its people, that we might be part of the world's urging towards justice, peace, and love. May we feel in our bones the rhythm of life and the land, and find ourselves dancing. Thanks, Muriel.
It takes many people to create a service. All of those who participated in the service this morning, thank you here in the sanctuary. For those who are with us online, for our incredible tech team here in the sanctuary, and for those online, thank you so much for all of the support and the dedication that you have. Our closing words are by Betty Laurent. As flame is to spirit, so spirit is to breath, and breath to song. Though we extinguish the flame in this sanctuary, may we tend it in our hearts until we meet again. As we listen to the blessing of music, may we know this ending is more than a time of goodbye. May the warmth of this community and the memory of our chalice flame sustain our hearts and encourage our minds as we engage the blessings of life's challenges and joys. The service is ended. Your service has begun. Go in peace, go in joy, go in love. May it be so. Blessed be. Well, we've touched on a number of different forms of creativity. The choir has prepared a loving, somewhat gentle, tender reflection to kind of culminate all of the thoughts for today as our final presentation for this season for Chorealis. We hope you enjoy our postlude, following which, Carry the Flame.
Before we sing Carry the Flame, I have a little announcement. So every week, Chorealis singers come to practice for the pure joy of singing for both of you. Would you two come up, please? It is a highlight of the week for us. Your passion is infectious, you're patient with our foibles, and the joy you both exude is just what we need. And of course, our whole congregation is so appreciative of the music you play week after week, and also the monthly services that you prepare. These flowers are a small token of what MasterCard can buy, but as the saying goes, what you give us is precious, priceless.
Thank you, everyone. Let's remain seated or stand or celebrate or feel the love as we join hands in community and sing together our closing song. carry the flame. And just be aware that we're going to take about a 10, 15-minute break, and we'll be back for our annual general meeting. Let us join together, carry the flame.